Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Lieutenant Stephen Rogers here on the East Coast of the United States of America. It is 7:01 p.m. Eastern Time, and I want to thank you all from around the United States, Canada, and the other countries that have their citizens watching us. In a moment, I'll be introducing you to some three extraordinary citizens here in New Jersey. But I am compelled to address the tragedy that occurred here in the United States yesterday. And the reason why I'm going to address it tonight, folks, is that the tragedy continues, but in a very different, terrible way. I've been on the air all day today. I'll be on One America News tonight talking about this. And I must tell you that this is a time for us to reflect, a time of mourning, a time of praying, not a time for politicking. And unfortunately, we had an incident today, again in Texas, where one of our political leaders pretty much was close to attacking Governor Abbott of Texas when he was at a press conference or holding a press conference, giving parents and people around the country an update on the tragedy that occurred in his state. This individual who did this is Beto O'Rourke. He's running for governor, and he took that opportunity to advance his political agenda. My Lord, how does this happen in a day and age when you need leaders to step up and to comfort people in time of crisis? Our president did not do well in his so-called press conference and speech. They went off and they decided to politicize this terrible, terrible tragedy by attacking the gun lobby and attacking conservatives and on and on and on. But these things are now to be expected. So the question that people have been asking me, when does it end and who's going to stop this? Well, the call for leadership is important, but you, the parents, are leaders. Those of us who are not elected at this point are the leaders. And when we take office, we'll be in much better positions and stronger positions to take leadership roles. But it doesn't mean we abdicate our leadership abilities. It means we strengthen them. So I'm going to be addressing this within the next few days more comprehensively. For those of you from Canada, tomorrow night we will be on the air. We have another extraordinary leader from Canada who will be on air tomorrow night. And we're going to continue to let the entire world know what has happened to your country and what is going to happen to your country, in the sense that the people that believe in freedom and liberty will take control of their nation in Canada once again. Tomorrow night after our broadcast, we are having a meeting, a Zoom meeting with the individuals who have been assigned to our research team. And as I said, we're going to pull all that information together. And right after the November election, it will go to the United States Congress. Those reports will go to the Canadian Parliament, and we're going to send them to the European Union. We think it's time the world knows what's happening in Canada. And to answer my critics wondering why I'm quote unquote involved with your national issues, I'm involved in your national issues because Justin Trudeau has placed my country in jeopardy. My country's national security is in jeopardy, as well as the freedom-loving people in Canada. And so we've come together to make sure that we address two groups of people that have joined together in a very aggressive way, that we address and we remove and send to the ash bin of history the atheists and the communists who are gaining a foothold in both of our countries. Now, I've said all along that this all begins, folks, all begins on a local level, right? We're not going to have politicians on a federal level solve our problems here in America, or as well as in any nation. But we have encouraged on this broadcast people to step up in their local and county governments, as well as their state governments, in order to present solutions to the problems we're facing. All politics is local, they say here in America. Well, now I'm going to introduce you to three extraordinary people. I say extraordinary because they had it up to their neck with the problems we're facing here in the state of New Jersey, in their county, and in the United States of America. And they not only stepped up to speak out, but they stepped up to do something extraordinary, and that is to run for office. So now here is Paul Duggan, and here is Angelique Hackman, and here is Mary Jo. And I want to thank you all for joining us. And Mary Jo, I'm sure she'll be on camera soon.
Hi.
But I want to thank you all for joining us. Now, Mary Jo, we lost your video, but there you go. Here she is.
There we go. There we go. Hello.
So, folks, here's what I'm going to do. We'll extend our broadcast a little bit tonight because I want people to understand that what we've said all along, that the greatest fear that powerful politicians have are you, the people. They fear people that are coming out of the neighborhoods and their homes and out of their workplaces and deciding to run for office. So let's begin with Mary Jo. Mary Jo, if you'd introduce yourself, give us a brief background about you, and then what people want to hear is what inspired you to run for office.
Thank you, first of all, so much, Lieutenant Rogers, for having us at this time to be on your broadcast. We really appreciate it. My name is Mary Jo Ginchard. I'm running for County Commissioner of Bergen County. And my experience is I was a former mayor of Tuxedo Park, New York. I was also a trustee prior to that in Tuxedo Park, New York. And after being mayor, I was asked to be on the planning board of Orange County, appointed by our county executive of Orange County, Steve Newhouse. And then we moved to Ridgewood, New Jersey. Our daughter lives here with her son, and my other children are very close by. So it was a very nice center point for all of us to be. Being in Ridgewood has been a wonderful experience. We've met some wonderful people. We actually moved right before COVID hit. And then a lot of things have occurred at that time. And what's really inspired me to get back into politics again was actually when Frank Pallotta was running for Congress 2 years ago. I helped him with his campaign, making phone calls and similar things like that, seeing what was going on not only here in New Jersey, but in our country. And then I was asked by Frank for this time to run as a county commissioner. There's so much going on right now, as you are very well aware of, and my fellow commissioners that are running as candidates and our county executive. And my biggest, platform of anything right now is parental rights and the safe neighborhoods, the police not getting all their rights. Obviously, I'm very pro-police, and parents have a right to parent their children. And right now, that is at great jeopardy. Our safety of our neighborhoods and everything are at great risk right now. The police have been pretty much, I hate to use the word, but handcuffed themselves to doing their job. And that is just not acceptable at all. So those are just 2 points. Obviously, infrastructure is a very big component for me. Budgets, I dealt with budgets as a mayor and making sure contracts are being bid out correctly, that we don't have nepotism within our system. I mean, I could go on and on, but I will just touch upon those for right now. We can expand later. And again, thank you so much for having us on.
You're welcome. Well said. Angelique, let's get to you. And if you can give us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to run.
Hi, I'm Angelique Hakim. I'm running for Bergen County Commissioner. I was born in Lebanon. I came to the state in 2006 after I get married. I have 2 kids. I'm a wife. I have my own business. And when I got the opportunity to run, I did not hesitate because, I'm really concerned and scared what's going on now in Bergen County. So I said, instead of sit on the side, I have to get involved and help the people in Bergen County, and also make sure, we don't, we're facing a lot of theft. We're facing a lot of home invasion, carjacking, what Mary Jo said. And also what's going on at school is not acceptable anymore. So when they asked me to run, I said, let me do it. I want them to hear my voice, and that's it,
Paul?
Yes, thank you.
How you doing there, Paul? Paul, when I saw you grab that cup of coffee, I said, a man after my own heart.
Thank you so much.
So give us a little bit about your background and what inspired you to run.
Fantastic. My name is Paul Duggan. I was born in Dublin in Ireland, educated in Ireland and in Germany with over 40 years experience in the public and the private sector. And what propelled me, first of all, to come to this great republic was the childhood analogy that I always had. And the childhood analogy was that America is the most beautiful and biggest Tiffany lamp that you will ever see, in which each individual color represents every color, race, creed, and every nationality. bound together. If you can close your eyes and envisage this beautiful Tiffany lamp, and it's bound together by the glue of the Constitution, the flag, the language, and the heritage that we have together. And it embraces everything that we know and that we have of e pluribus unum, from everything into one. And I really do believe that it is incumbent on us to run, and what propels us to run is that we have a civic, spiritual, and social obligation to bring in a new form of awakening, especially at this time where the dark clouds of evil seem to be everywhere throughout the world. And we want to embrace the best, and I certainly do, because I'm a civil servant, and now at this particular time, and my first greetings in the morning are basically how can I help you? We are here to help the public. We're here to embrace the public. We're to solve the problems, and those problems are many. But we have to do it, and we will do it in an honest and open way. And the reason why this election and this primary is so important, because the integrity of the local and county Republican Party is at stake. We have, for the most part, and I can speak for myself, we have all been vetted. We're vetted every day when we go to the public. And we do, and we want to represent, and I do believe that we will represent our party with the honor and the respect. And there will be no surprises at the end of the day in October that the Democrats can use against us. So I am proud to be here. I'm proud to be a citizen. This is just one last thing I will say, and it sums it all up. When I went for my INS interview to get my global access pass, the gentleman from the DHS, Homeland Security, says, "Paul, I want to thank you." And I said, "Really, for what?" I said, "For not becoming a dual citizen." And I said, "I can only serve one master besides the main master at a time."
Paul, I heard you say that at an event that I was at, and boy, I'll tell you what, it was powerful. So for those of you in other countries, especially in Canada, and many of you have been saying to me, well, you want to leave, you want to come to the United States. Folks, stand tall, stand strong. Don't leave your country. Don't leave your country. Stand tall. These three candidates here, I'm sure, and we're going to talk about the fear factor in a minute, very successful business people. They could walk away. They don't need this aggravation. And yet they decided not to fly the flag of surrender. They're flying the flag of honor, of dignity. So, Mary Jo, I want to get to you, the fear factor. A lot of people watching here in the United States, in your county, by the way, and in other countries, are fearful of their governments. They're fearful of standing up. And they're also saying, well, you know what, Mary Jo, Angelique, and Paul, well, I don't have the money. I just don't have the money. So let's talk about the money versus the message and how you were propelled to get where you are. Let's start with Mary Jo, and then Angelique, and then Paul.
The thing that has propelled me is speaking to so many people right now has even made me even so confident and sure that we are in the right place. And I'm sure that Paul and Angelique feel the same way. I've talked to friends, very close friends that I'm just becoming and meeting. It's almost the same message, Lieutenant. Do I fill just a half a tank of gas and buy half of my groceries so I can make it through the week? How do I get to work? Everything we're kind of in an unknown way right now. It's troubling. I see fear in people's eyes. I'm fearful for our children. What are we going to leave our children? Paul touched upon this very, very well. There's such a cloud over us right now that we must stand tall. We must speak out, but do it in a loving, harmonious way as Republicans and as Americans. We are Americans. We must take care of each other. We must take care of our children. There's no reason why someone right now should have to be choosing whether they are buying a half a tank of gas or how do they get to work? How did we get here? I mean, we all know, we all can understand that, But at this point in time, this is why I'm running. So we can collectively together with our congressmen, with our other elected officials, give the message of our residents here in Bergen County, because that's our position at this point of what we'll be doing and of what we can do to help, reach out, be the voices. And if it's areas that as commissioners we aren't touching, find the person of our elected officials that we can talk to give that message of the concerns. I think right now the biggest top concern of everyone is the safety of our children, the safety of our homes, the food that we can bring into our homes. How do we pay for it? Our jobs, all of these things collectively. You know, I think all of us are very blessed and fortunate that we have what we have, but I don't think one American right now is feeling perfectly comfortable with what's going on today, in my opinion.
Angelique, you have an admirer in my wife. My wife certainly admires the way that you spoke with passion at the events we were at, and you touched her. And I'd like you to share, your answers to the question: what about the fear factor? What about the courage and standing up and living and believing by your convictions? People need to hear that. Because their hearts are broken. The times we're living in are difficult, but we strive. And I know you guys are striving. And just by your presence here tonight and what you're saying is bringing hope to people. I'm looking at a couple of feeds here, very extraordinary comments, but would you follow up on that, Angelique?
Yes, sure. I just want to say that as I mentioned before, that I was born and raised in Lebanon. I survived the war in Lebanon. I lived the war since I was born there. Sadly, I lost a brother in Lebanon during the war. It happens during an explosion. Those people, they were putting explosions between houses. And he was 17 years old when he got burned and passed away. He survived for 9 days at the hospital and passed away. And he burns our hearts. So what I saw there, I don't want our people here to face. We live the violence, the corruption, the bad government. I know what the bad government looks like and where it's gonna lead to. So I'm trying to explain that we have to keep this country clean and clear. We don't want this to happen to my country, America, or to my house in Bergen County, to our house here. I had an event yesterday and I was talking with people what really what the problems that I was facing in my country, and I came here and they were crying. Honestly, they cried when I was talking to them about, the crimes, theft, bullying, drug usage, everything. And even here, the problems that we are facing here, when I moved to America, my friend, oh my God, you live in the best country in the world. That's true. But what's going on now, it's really scary. The country is going down. And I don't want to see this. And this is really bothering me. Live what I lived before. I don't want my kids. I want my kids to live the American dream with no fear. So that's, I hope, we do hope, like when elected, all of us, we're gonna work with people and we're gonna serve people, and we don't want anything bad happen to Bergen County or hopefully to the USA.
Well, you've touched a lot of people. I could tell you that. Thank you. And Paul, you've been around. You look like a hardworking guy, and I got to tell you, I'm looking at the feed. You got some people from Ireland watching, so you got some fans out there. But Paul, let's get back to that theme, the fear factor. People are afraid of their government. They're afraid to step up, and they're afraid of the ridicule and the torment you got to go through politically. But you and your running mates here have managed to work through that, and here you are. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Well, in order to move on, you have to understand where you came from. My father was a colonel in the Irish Army. We brought up and we had a loving family. My mother, God rest her soul, was an English lady. She drove an ambulance during the Blitz in 1941. And if we think that we had it bad, they really had it bad. They had ration books. They lived up with the type of a frugal comforts that people wouldn't be able to deal with now, because during the war, when everything was rationed, but they had a sense of faith and pride, and they kept their sense of humor. What we are witnessing today is basically our faith-based communities being subverted by, I would say, Fabian socialist nihilism. And I don't want to use big words like that. Basically, it's, they're trying to replace every facet of American life, the wholesome family, as it being jeered at and everything like that. And there are very, very dark forces in doing it. I'm not just talking about Mr. Soros and all his money. It goes much further than that, because we have a bunch of elites and basically hypocrites, I suppose. We even have it in our own right, sort of locally in our own state, where you have a governor of the state of New Jersey who said that the Bill of Rights and the Constitution were above his pay grade. Well, good Lord, I came here to embrace that. My part of my oath of citizenship was to swear fidelity to those founding documents that are basically, we are the only republic in this civilization that has a built-in Bill of Rights. And to lose that because somebody has a temper tantrum is, to me, is apparent. But I do believe that we as candidates have the moral and civil courage to speak out in a gentle, fair, but firm way, to say, stop, enough already. We are the adults. We are speaking. We're going to embrace all of these. We see the problems where they are. Where I see them every day. 40% of my visitors to the state agencies are now illegal aliens. And what I see every day is not fair on them, and it's not fair on them. Every third or fourth person has been given a phony social security number by the INS. It's called ITIN numbers. And then when we check them, we find these belong to legitimate Americans. And we're basically told the big shush, the big don't talk about it. There is time basically where you have to say, and have your moral courage and actually do talk about it, because these are the problems that fester and fester, and they're only going to get worse. When you see a storm coming, you can rush inside, but you can also get the other people to safety. We have a moral opportunity. At the time, I do believe, with everything that's going on in the world right now, and especially when we have the leader of our country poking two dangerous, a bear and a panda at the same time, and not knowing, we could wake up one morning and there could be a mushroom cloud over you. We cannot afford, that cannot stand. And we have this moral obligation, as for as long, we're only on this earth for a limited amount of time to do good. And we are going to be held accountable at some stage. Mm-hmm. So I do believe fervently in my heart of hearts that even though you say that money is the mother's milk of politics, that good and sensible and honest people will basically help honest public servants be honest and stay honest. And I think that that is our road that we're on. And I sincerely hope, between your mouth and God's ears, that we will prevail.
Well said. Let's talk about God's ears for a minute. And by the way, to the three of you, I got a couple of feeds here, and somebody just typed out, now I know why you introduce them as three extraordinary people. Wow. So that to me is excellent. Now let's talk about something that a lot of people shy away from. And I know you guys haven't. The Democrats certainly shy away from talking about this next topic. Paul, you kind of mentioned a little bit about it, and that's the spiritual factor. The faith and freedom go hand in hand. Without faith, there's no freedom. And as Paul articulated, and as we all know, the Communist Party, and we've been piling up the evidence for years, their first attack is on the religious institutions of people in a free country. The ideology of Marx, Lenin, and Stalin is always go after their religion, go after their God, then they got no hope. But when people hear leaders like you standing up and including faith as part of the mission to restore and to maintain and protect freedom, well, that strengthens people. So Mary Jo, let's start with you. Let's talk a little bit about the faith factor. And I'm not basically talking about one's religion, but pretty much, and you could include whatever you want. You say whatever you want on this broadcast. But I think people need to know that it takes a lot of faith in order to get the strength you need to do the job you're doing in an election campaign.
It absolutely does, and I totally agree with you. Whatever your faith is, whatever God you pray to, you have to be able to find that inner place to give you strength and to go to let you know that you are doing the right thing. You inherently know those answers. When someone asks me a question of help or this or that, and I'm listening, and that's what I love about our team, by the way, Lieutenant. They're great listeners. They're great problem solvers. And I truly believe that we all know the answer that we're looking for sometimes. We just need to verbalize and see where it takes us and hear it for ourselves as we're verbalizing that. For me, faith is very important. I've grown up in the church that I was born and raised in. And when I really need to have that moment, I will pause myself and just take that moment to pray. I'm not I wouldn't say extreme in any angle whatsoever, but take for what has happened tragically yesterday. That our nation was absolutely, I think, their hearts they were broken, and we were all speechless. And I have 3 grown children. I have a grandchild. People have brothers, sisters, nephews, nieces. Somehow you are touched by a loss. And for me, if I didn't have my faith to fall back on in these moments of tragedy, or just to pray upon where I'm going next, the journey I'm going, the job I'm getting ready to do to give me the strength, I think that's where my personal courage comes. And I try not to take things too personal. I'm not perfect by no means. And I'm sure I have those moments where, I get my feelings hurt. But I then am able to go to that place where I can pray, say what I need to say to myself, and then move on. I truly want to believe that people aren't meaning to hurt one another, but unfortunately, evil does exist. And we just cannot sit there and ignore the fact and deny that it's there. So helping people, this is about helping people. This is why I'm in the seat that I want to be in right now. I'm not afraid to speak out and, gently. I love what Paul said. We're not here to be harsh and angry. We're here to be accountable and listen and solve and draw upon our own experiences in life and take those tools to go where we need to go. And with that really comes from your foundation of what you have. And if I could say one other thing, I know there are some people that may be listening right now that say, well, what happens to those who haven't been brought up with that foundation? I hope that someone recognizes that that individual needs someone to talk to and maybe takes that hint or sees something that they're doing that's reaching out to give them a place to talk to. Sometimes people just need someone to listen to them. We need to set the example.
Yeah, they need role models, and job well done. Angelique, same question. What you just shared with us, the story of your background, I can only imagine the faith that you had to exercise and believe that you would be delivered from the very, very difficult problems you were facing in Lebanon. It's all yours, Angelique.
Let me tell you something in only few words. I pray to God every day to stay in our home and don't abandon us, to stay, to keep us safe, to keep my kids, my husband, my family, the whole people safe. I pray to stay, for God to stay in our home and all the people, all the Americans people home. And for me, we have to block all the anti-people God. I'm sorry to say it, because without faith, we cannot survive. I faced a lot of problems in my life, and with praying and praying and praying, I was able, to lift up and to go back, where I am now. I want to say that America needs God now and need prayers more than ever.
Thank you. Thank you. Paul?
I think we need to ponder on how we got here in this way. In the youth and in our youth, we did have faith and morality. And with all of these things going on, it seems to me, and the logical question as to, I would like to say to all of those people, hands up, any of you who do not want to preach, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. What is so repugnant about these messages in this time? And this is a very, very important question, because I think that the left have hijacked the First Amendment. They go on and say separation of church and state, and all that really we say is that there will be no state religion. But that does not say that we take morality out of the public square and replace it with whatever, whatever. And I think this is where we can be convincing with simple messages, not lecturing by any means, but by able to say, does anybody embrace the sanctity of life anymore, either for the living at all sides from the cradle to the grave? And even when they try and talk about thorny subjects like abortion, things like that, well, how did we get even from the Bill Clinton mantra of legal, safe, very rare and limited, to it's okay to do anything up until the 9 month, or they're often. How did we get those? We are, unfortunately, the media and society does not allow philosophy. And if you don't allow philosophy in the meaning in an intellectual way, you're basically basing everything down to the lowest common denominator of the cave people. And if we lose our ability to communicate, we cannot have our ability to lead. Because leading is my example. For example, I see all of these people every day. I see from people in terrible conditions. And if I see a deficiency, I try and correct it. If somebody hasn't got a bank account, I tell them this is how you do it. If somebody has lost their social security, but if somebody has lost their soul, we also have a moral obligation to help that person. And we have problems in our correctional institutions, because when our public servants do not follow the federal law how on earth do we expect the criminals to follow it? And these are the things that when we get elected, the most important thing that we have is a bully pulpit. And as long as we do that in a professional manner and in a heartwarming manner and an inspiring manner, this is what we have to do. We have to inspire and lift up the downtrodden, the people who are putting the bumper stickers on their cars that my take-home pay won't take me home. But I do believe that we will do this one way or the other, we will get the job done, because we may not hit every heart, but one heart a day for me is enough.
If I
Wow.
may
Yeah.
say something really quickly, Lieutenant,
Sure.
and Paul, I love listening to you so much. You really, you just hit things so perfectly and beautifully. And one thing to attach on to what Paul said, we've lost respect and faith in the schools. Whatever your faith is, when they stopped the Pledge of Allegiance in some of the schools, and many of the schools, I should say, and then faith went away in the schools, I think that's when, for me, I was very fearful of seeing the deterioration that we are at today, because that's the example. That's where our children spend most of the days away from the home, in these schools. And I think if we don't get back to the basics of respect in our school system, and the top, as Paul just said, the top of that pyramid of our government and our elected leaders and all of that, if we aren't setting the example, then we're failing. We are failing, and we're failing our youth, because they are looking up to us. Why should they be doing something we're not doing?
Well, I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, extraordinary conversation with three extraordinary people. So before I let you guys go, and then I'll have to address the audience. Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna ask you all to have a few last words. So let's begin with Angelique.
I just want to say something, that they are destroying our kids, our youth's mind to hate America and to hate God. And this is not acceptable. American people, they have to wake up. Parents, they have to wake up and see what's going on.
And I would say, Angelique, that after hearing you tonight and hearing all of you as we journey forward, I think we're going to see a rebound in this country, and people are going to start to love this country again. Well said. All right. So a few minutes left. So I'll begin with Mary Jo, last words. Then we'll go to Angelique, and then we'll go to Paul. And if you want to give out your website, you go right ahead.
I will. First of all, I want to say it's very important, June 7th, the primary, that you vote. Column one is Congressman Frank Pallotta, County Executive Linda Barba, Paul Duggan, that you've just been hearing from, for County Commissioner. Angelique Hakeem is for also County Commissioner, and myself, Mary Jo Ginchard, for County Commissioner. We are true Americans, true Republicans, and we are here for you and for our youth and for the love of our country. And if there's any moment in time that an election is so important, it's this time. We cannot help if you don't get out and vote. My website is, I'm on Facebook, Mary Jo for Commissioner, on Instagram, Mary Jo for Bergen, and on Twitter, Mary Jo for Bergen. You are welcome to reach out to me at any point in time. I'll even give you my phone number. It is 551-305-0100. We are here for you. We want to hear from you, what your concerns are, what we can do, anything we haven't addressed tonight, because this is about you. And that's why we are here. And thank you again so much, Lieutenant.
Angelique, before we get to you, I want to read something to you that just came across here. A person says here, if they lived in New Jersey, they would certainly vote for you three because you gave them hope. Think about that impact. Angelique?
I want to say thank you so much for having us with you tonight, and for all the people that they are listening to us. I just want to say that our team took a stand because we are tired of keep losing and losing and losing for years. It's time for the Republican to win. So our team is working hard to secure the changes in Bergen County. Therefore, we ask all the Republicans to go out and vote on June 7. Bergen County Republicans, column 1. Without their vote, we can do nothing. Thank you so much.
Paul?
I want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts again for all that you have done. In these waning moments of the campaign, all we can do is ask your listeners to spread the word and just help at the give us a last minute push. My website is www, my last name Duggan, Delta Uniform Golf Alpha November, DUGGAN, letter 4, Bergen County Commissioner.org. Any piece of bit of help that you can, but the most important of help is your hope and your prayers, and maybe disseminating some of our words on, and we would hope that we would inspire people to, regardless of their station in life, to stand up and be counted. We have been silent for far, far too long. I thank you so much.
One more very extraordinary feat. I tell you, the feedback I'm getting is very extraordinary. How about getting a note here? And I think some of you could see some of this stuff. Is that not a religious man, but I am now. I believe in God. You brought great hope to me. Wow. Well, listen, guys, God bless you all. We'll see you again real soon. We're going to help you on the campaign trail. We got Frank Pallotta coming on Monday night. We had Linda Babon last week, and this is a great team. So thank you all. Thanks for spending time with us and the inspiration. You know, God uses us in very interesting ways. Who would have ever believed you'd be on the air talking to the what I call the secular pulpit, not just your county, but the world. And you did. You had impact on the lives of a lot of people, and God's going to bless you for that. Thank you all. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, so there you got it. 3 very extraordinary people, just like us, right? Not politicians, not looking for anything but to serve their communities and serve their country. So before we go off there, a word to all of you. In Canada, the United States, and other countries around the world, we are fighting for our faith and our freedom. And I will say this to you, and I'll continue to say this. Although the communists, the socialists, the atheists, the Democrats here in America, and the opposition that you're facing in Canada and other countries, just remember this. Faith and freedom go together. If they take our faith, they take our freedom. They will never take our faith, because the faith we have is born within the heart, soul, and spirit of every freedom-loving person. That's why I encourage you from Canada and from Germany and Ireland and the other countries, South Africa, who are watching, stay the course, stand firm, don't surrender, don't turn Old Glory here into a white flag of surrender. And I've got the Canadian flag. I'm going to show you something. Give me a minute. I got this from a citizen of Canada in the mail today. Hold on. Isn't that beautiful? A citizen from Canada sent me this, and this we're going to be putting up right here on this side. We're going to have Old Glory there, and when we air, we're going to let people know, not only in word, but in deed, we stand together. What do you think of that? What a wonderful gift. So that's it, folks. I wanted to have these 3 come on tonight because they exemplify what the fight is. It's at a local level. So those of you in any province in Canada, in any state across this country, or any province in any other country, if you think you got the call from God to run for office, do it. You get the call from God to support people who love faith and freedom, do it. And again, I call the clergy of this country to stand up and to speak out. We will, if you want, we will, because we're doing here physically in the States. We're going to be visiting congregation and churches of all faiths, and we're going to be campaigning, but not for a political party. I'm not going to bring a political message to people in a congregation of worship, but I'm going to bring a message of God and country. That's what we need to hear more of. You heard it tonight from these extraordinary people, and we're going to hear it more. So listen to this, folks. Tomorrow night, we got a great guest from Canada who's in the thick of the fight for freedom and liberty. And I ask you all to tune in. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, campaignforamerica.com. Please go through our website, the campaign number 4america.com. And in the part where it says narrative or statements, if you have not signed up for our newsletter yet, just put the word newsletter. That would help us tremendously. And in about a couple of weeks, we're going to send a pretty extraordinary, informative newsletter out to you. Okay, that's it. So your heart is filled with Texas. Well, you know what? Our heart is filled with those in Texas, and our prayers are for the people in Texas and around the country. And that's a good person, because what we heard tonight were people who touched all of our hearts. Keep the faith and remember this. There's a God above. You may be going through some personal sacrifices, personal issues. As that man said tonight, boy, what a touching message. He didn't believe in God when he started listening to the broadcast, but he was weeping as he was hurting, as he was hearing about God. And to me, that's extraordinary. Thank you so much. God bless you all. See you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. here at the Patriot Desk. God bless you all. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Lieutenant Stephen Rogers.